Good morning. Just waiting here for someone to join, and I'm all ready to do a beautiful white hibiscus. Spring isn't too far off, so I thought I would just kind of get in the mood for spring. This reminds me of a student I had when I taught at Michael's a few years back when they had classes, art classes, and she was crazy about hibiscus. She had every kind there was in her garden, and it was their favorite thing to paint. So this is dedicated to Rose and her love of hibiscus. I think white is a good subject to focus on because there's so much color in white. If you've ever gone to a paint store to choose white for your home, you know what I mean. White is not just white. The absence of color, it can have all kinds of color mixed in. Some of the colors I have out today are soft mixing white, some warm white, Gamblin, beige by Lucas, and some light blue. It's I'm blanking on the name, but when I use it, it's a gray, and then we'll be mixing whites too, starting with the transparent color that will go underneath. I'm actually going to use some purple in the white flower to begin with the transparent color, and then use white opaque over. I joined a little bit early today, so I'm hoping we'll have someone come on soon and I can get started. I've been very excited about my new organizational system in my studio, or some paint racks I got, and I'm going to be sharing some oil sticks, RNF oil sticks that are so different than oil pastels. I'm in love with these sticks, and it takes me back to my pastel days. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started. And I'm going to begin with a transparent Indian yellow mixed with some liquid, make it move easily. If you've watched in the past, I've done a red background. Definitely needed more caffeine to get my brain working. I've used Cad Red Light in acrylic as a toning for my canvas, but with using these transparents, you couldn't see what I was doing. So I decided to let go of that and just let this be the toning, which makes sense. And these hibiscus buds are so pretty. And you can see where I'm putting this. You can see a little bit of yellow in the buds. So that's what will show through, hopefully. And here's some yellow and the green. And I got a new transparent color recommended by another artist, Kim Smith, and it's yellow, transparent yellow-green Rembrandt. I love new tubes of paint. If you're an artist, I think you could probably relate. They're so nice and clean at that point. And I've made a commitment this new year to put the tops back on my tubes every time I get paint out of it, to try to keep things cleaner, and so far so good. And also I came up with a my creative goal for the year is to work at being a little more loose, getting better at putting down color and leaving it. Which honestly, I'd say maybe I've gotten a little bit more loose, but that's a constant thing to work on, to keep challenging. See there, I scrubbed a little bit, so keep doing that. Okay, and now this is that yellow-green, so where else do we want that? I think up in here it looks a little, some in there. Maybe on this stem. I didn't draw in there. Up in here for sure. It's such a pretty color. Okay. And now I'm going to use some sap green. Good morning, Jill. Welcome. Hope your morning is going well. I'm just putting in some transparent colors as a base, using some liquid. This is sap green. Kind of fun to start with these transparent colors. It's a lovely pure pigment that will kind of help give it a glow and show through a little in places, even after we put in the opaque color. Some down here. And I could use some ultramarine blue in here too, but we'll just do it this way, and because that would make the value darker. And since ultramarine and sap are both transparent, it would work. Okay. And I'm also going to use a little bit of Viridian in here too. I need to move faster if I get anywhere. So I'm going to throw some Viridian in places too, which is a little cooler. love the look of the two of them together. It's really cool. Good morning, Pat. How are you? Just putting in the transparency, it's a little bit of Viridian, and I am going to mix, I'm going to mix some ultramarine and some Viridian to get the darker spots dark enough. Isn't that pretty? I'm trying to put enough on here to get it established. Thank you, Pat. Okay, and then I just, for some of the areas are just sort of green, so I'm going to put that in. I tried mixing some color before I started, and it's hard to change the way your brain is used to working. I thought, I just kind of do it intuitively, so mixing the greens ahead just felt so awkward, but I need to just commit to doing that for one whole painting and see if there's a difference, you know. It's always good to challenge, try new things. Okay, in here I was avoiding something, it looks like. Sometimes I don't know why I do that. Okay, so as you know, I get to a place where I gotta switch things up because it's just the way my mind works. So I'm going to focus a little bit on the flower now. I'm going to put just a little bit of sap green right in that center where I see green happening. And I'm going to put some purple, like I said, some dioxazine purple with quite a bit of liquid. That's going to be bright. I'll see how it goes. Ooh. And this does add a challenge to it because then you have to kind of fight with the color a little bit. And because I don't leave a lot of it showing, but just in places, and it will impact the color that you put down. See, I like the amount now that there's less on my brush. So I'm going to take some of this back off here. Okay. Now I'm going to show you something really fun. I got these oil sticks. Reminds me of my pastel days. And they are just so cool. This one here I'm going to use is a Phthalo Green Pale. If I can get the paper off it. There we go. Has that paper going around to keep it, because they're really buttery and soft. They're RNF pigment sticks, or oil sticks. And the difference between these and oil pastels are less wax and more color, and oil pastels don't dry, so you have to put it under glass. These will dry just like your oils, and it just adds another fun layer of just getting in there and putting some color down where you kind of see it. You don't just, it's just reacting a little bit to what you're seeing in here. And you kind of don't know what you're going to get, but it's really fun. Put some in here. Like I would imagine every time I would do this, I'd do it a little bit different, you know. Okay, I don't want to get too carried away with one stick. So, and they come in these tubes, which I'm trying to be good, just like I've made the commitment with the putting the tops on to put it back in there so that they'll stay nice and creamy and not get all over each other. See? So put it away. And now, the other one I want to use is a Provence Blue. Oh, I love these French names. Like my Saint Remy blue. So I'm just going to take this, and it's sort of a blue purple. Put it in places where I could kind of maybe see it happening. It's the only way I can put it, where I might see it happening. This thing about color is that if you get the value right, you can throw in all kinds of crazy color. So really that's what I'm doing when I'm searching right here, is just look for the value. And not feeling it over here. Let's see. I really wish I had gotten some more color in there, but I will. Okay. So enough of the Provence Blue. Get that back in there. Getting it in the right tube is key. I ordered, I think I have 6 of these, but I can already see that I'd like more. Maybe I'd do a whole painting in it. That would be a challenge. The other thing you can do with these sticks is you can push it around with a palette knife. I probably won't do that, but you could do that. And you can use a brush with just some terps on it and move it around if you want. I'm just doing it, just laying down the color right now. Now this one I haven't used yet, so this is its first trial run, and it's Cad Yellow. And they are very oily, so you have to use them with that in mind, that, you know, if you press hard, it's going to put a lot more pigment down. Throw a little bit in there. Okay, so that's enough playing with that for now. You could do a lot more, like I said, or you could do more colors. I also have one that has it's iridescent gold, and I used that in the rooster that I did last week. I really like the effect of that. Didn't feel it for this one, but you certainly could if you wanted to. They are getting messy now once I put them back in the tube. Oh well. I love those fresh new art supplies, but if you use them, they're going to get paint everywhere. Okay, so I feel like I need to catch up a little bit. Hi, Jean. Welcome. So I'm going to mix some ultramarine blue here and some Viridian. I really like the color that makes. We just need to get rid of some of this white. And that's why I like toning it with the red, because I get rid of that white right away. But this is a fun way too. Have any of you ever used the oil sticks? Do you like them? I think Sennelier makes an oil stick. I had just learned about it from Kim Smith, and I just think they're just so soft and buttery. And I'm pretty sure I read on a site talking about them that they're a little more buttery than the Sennelier, so that just sealed the deal for me because I really love the consistency. Okay, so we've kind of lost. You love them, Jill? All right. Do you have any favorite colors you could recommend? They're pretty expensive. They're like 15 to 17 or somewhere in that price range. But I think they'll last a while. Okay. So now to start adding, I love how this looks in here, but I need to start adding some opaque color in there. Let's see. I'm going to take a little cad yellow and mix it with, just trying this out. No, that didn't work. I mixed it with a little bit of Gamblin's Naples Orange. Didn't do what I wanted it to do. So I'm going to mix it with a little bit of white, soft mix in white. And a little bit of Montserrat Orange. See what that does. I like that more. It's in shadow in part, and I'm going to mix a little soft white here, or warm white. adding a little bit of burnt sienna into the mix. Again, trying to just put down and try not to blend too much. That might be a little too brown. Just add a little bit of blending. Anybody else out there really trying to work at being more loose? Okay, mixing up some green for in there. And then I'm seeing it in some other places, so. Probably getting some white on this flower will help the most because then we'll be able to see it. Oh, thank you, Jill. Yeah, these are some different ones. I also have warm rose, which, it looks, I guess it's warm rose, but I pictured it a little warmer than that when I heard the name. And then quinacridone, I never know how to say that word, rose. And then the iridescent gold. You see, isn't that so pretty? All right, so I'm gonna get some white on here. I would say that it leans a little more cool over this side, and it's more warm here where the sun hits it, but the way I do it is I just start to get some white on there. It's gonna mix with all of this. So I'm using my soft mixing white by Winton. I've been using this for years. I just like the consistency. And it's a little bit warmer than titanium. Every now and then, because I get free, if you order from Jerry's, a lot of times they'll send you a free titanium. And then I had purchased some a long time ago, so I think, I'll just try titanium again. But I always go back to this. It's just what you're used to, and I like how it blends. Yeah, this is making me feel better, though. The flowers coming together a little bit. Good morning, Leon. Welcome. I have to thank Pat, who's on here, and she gave me the idea of painting a white hibiscus. Ooh, that really got yellow, didn't it? Okay, I gotta find the shape of this one here. It's kind of going into this area. The way I paint is the way I learned is to do color on everything first. I don't work on one area specifically. I generally like to go with the darks first, but today I just was drawn to all the color. But I mean, I don't like say, okay, I'm just going to work in this section here. That would mess with my ADD too much. Okay, and it's a little bit, the value is a little darker, so I'm going to take some of this here. That's a mixture of Viridian and ultramarine, and add a little bit of burnt sienna. Kind of keeping it a little bit blue. I want to keep this values dark. Start to get a sense of the depth of it there. It's actually a pretty complicated painting with all the nooks and crannies. Okay, then we'll leave that alone for a minute and come up here. Take some of that dark that I got from a mixture that was already on my palette. See, and I wonder if you do mix the colors ahead of time, how much that would affect your overall painting style, because I just, like I said, I paint just intuitively. I'm going to do it one of these days. I'll just have it set up ahead of time. Do any of you mix your colors, pre-mix? I just didn't learn that way, so I never developed that habit. Probably would help me to do these demonstrations more quickly, to be all mixed up. Paint my reference too. So now I am doing the darks, going around and kind of getting things tightened up a little bit. I need to get some new brushes. I like it when the brush is a little bit, I can't think of the word, but it's too wide right now, you know. We can get a nice tip to it. I'm going to try getting one of those or some of those brushes from England, those rosemary brushes. I've heard so many people love them. If you have it, the line to be real tight at the top, it's easier to make the nice brush strokes. Brushes can be expensive, and I find that if you paint a lot, you need to replenish them pretty often. Or maybe it's just the way I use them, I'm hard on them. I'm really liking how this is looking. I think it has a nice Caribbean feel. Put my reference so close, I can't help but paint it. Yeah, whenever you get those darks in, it really starts to give it depth. Getting those stems in there. So I'm checking to see if there's any more dark areas I need to tighten up. Okay, here there's a little bit of a shape into the flower, so you get that. Got that. Okay, here it's just, you come up with a little bit lighter green. Here's a little dark here. This also helps to carve out the flower a little bit. With a little negative painting. Okay. I didn't put out some Naples yellow, so I'm going to do that real quick. Now that I have these wonderful paint racks, I can see where the color is really easily. Oh, see, I didn't put the cap back on. Let's do that. All right. So a little Naples yellow and some warm white for this center. It's probably good to save your whitest whites till the end, but I say I'm kind of all over the board anyway. Okay. All right, so I'm going to come up with a well, I'm going to use some more of that Naples yellow. And some with the warm white. Better. So a little, almost a little bit right here where the light's coming through. There's a green that I need to make that would help. It's not quite as vibrant as the ones I've used so far. I'm going to try a little bit of this yellow green with some little red mixed in. To cool it with some Viridian and then some beige. Yeah, that looks good. Not quite as light as it is. Okay. There's a hint of one of these buds over here. Some on this side here. And these are helping to gray it out a little bit so it's not quite so bright and all over the place. Hello, Valerie. Welcome. So that one's a little bit warmer. I'm going to go back to add a little bit of that Rembrandt yellow green. Excuse me, I'm going to use a little smaller brush there and relocate that stem a little. Oh, I made it a little wider, but that's okay. This one's pretty wide. And I'm using some burnt sienna. I kind of lost this one altogether. It's more green now. And then this one is very green. And this one has a lighter stem here. And use some of that light again. So even though I didn't do a pre-mixed palette, I'm just using what's there as far as the different values, and I just go back and forth, putting in that lighter value that where I see it. Lighter value meaning just the degree of light to dark. It didn't turn out right. Let's see. Whenever you want to get a color to be less saturated, you just can take the opposite, the complement, and the complement of green is red. Now that's a little too warm, so I'm going to green it up a little bit. And it also looks like it's got maybe just a little bit of white in it. I'll try that. See if that's better. Yeah. Quite. I'm going to do it for now. Okay. Just notice this flower here is a little bit taller. I kind of like that about it. Boy, I use a lot of paper towels. I just switched over to Viva, which is more expensive. It does feel better using it, and I don't know if it's going to make a big difference as far as taking the color off my brush. Okay, so I haven't used any of this light. It's a light blue. Richardson something. Gotta look it up. Oh gosh, the thing is off of it. It's what is it? This Richardson gray, if you can think of it. It's just a real soft, light gray. So I'm going to put some of that in here and see if it's... I might mix a little bit of white with it. So I want to save the whitest white for the area that's really popping out. And also, it has a great consistency to get color down. Sometimes a color will work with you better and put more color over top of color. So you learn which ones don't fight you in that way. So you start to build up that opacity here. And get some of that shape back in the original shape of the flower. And now that I'm looking at this flower, I'm seeing some warm in there that I might need to. So I put a lot of cool with the purple and the blue and those sticks. I'm seeing some warmth here. So I'm going to take a little bit of this Naples orange. Yeah, that's what it's called, gambling. Yeah, I'm liking that. What do you guys think? And now I won't necessarily leave it as strong as you're seeing it, but it'll be there. The hints of it. So I look and see, where else do I see that? Kind of maybe a little bit in here. Definitely see it in here. You're right in here, this area. It's darker, but the sense of it in here. Bring this dark over there a little bit with my brush. Oh, I see a little bit over here too. A little bit of that purple so it's fighting me there. Okay. Right now I'm going to just go around and get rid of some of this white that's driving me crazy because I'm used to that red in the background. I've seen artists that leave canvas, the white of the canvas in their paintings, much more loose style than I have, but I would have a hard time with that. Okay, down here is light, so we're going to do a little light in here. Green here. Oh, I just looked at the time. Oh, it goes by so fast. And you can see that I'm going to have to work on it later. Okay, next week I'm going to pre-mix before I start. So, or at least maybe try a painting, practice it, and then mix when we're on here. Something like that. So that I can see if that helps speed things along. Okay. Just do that real quick. So get rid of the white. Okay, and I'm going to put in some of the lightest lights just to get a feel for that. Using this warm white. Thank you, Jean. Some of the warm white, the gambling, mixed with some of the soft mixing white. So it's a great consistency. And try to just lay it down. See how you go in the direction of what the petal is doing. I am blending, see? I'll try. I'm going to keep working at that. I'm just laying it down. A little bit longer on that one. Okay, go back to this area where it's needs to go lighter value. Key will be leaving some of this in and not losing kind of the freshness of it. I just noticed this area here. Funny, when you're painting like this, you don't notice as many things. One thing, I have this camera kind of in my way a little bit, but also your mind is trying to talk and do things. And I think what I need to do right there is bring that green over. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and sign it now so you can see my handy dandy little signing tool again. Oh, I just noticed that was maybe falling apart. Darn. Okay. Where will I put it? Right here. So I will be posting this a little bit later. I'm going to wait for a couple hours for it to set up and add any finishing touches. And what I usually do is a reel, and then I do a final photo of it at the end. Thank you all so much for joining me. I really enjoyed spending time with you, and I hope you'll join me again next week at 9 o'clock, and tell a friend who might like to watch. So, talk later. Bye.